By 1864, the war had changed. The days of gentlemanly conduct were gone. It was no longer about capturing capitals. It was about destroying the enemy's ability to exist. Ulysses S. Grant was given command of all Union armies, and he brought with him a grim new philosophy: total war. Welcome to Part 4. We are entering the final, bloodiest chapter. From the burning forests of the wilderness to the parlor at Appomattox, this is how the war ended and how the myths began. The ending of this story shaped the world we live in today. Don't miss a detail. Subscribe and join us for the final march. Grant's strategy was simple but brutal. Lock onto Robert E. Lee's army and never let go. In May 1864, they met in the Wilderness, a dense tangle of scrub oak in Virginia. The fighting was so intense the dry underbrush caught fire, trapping wounded men in the flames. Unlike previous Union generals who retreated after a battle, Grant turned south and marched toward the enemy. He famously said, "I propose to fight it out on this line if it takes all summer." The casualties were horrific. 60,000 Union men lost in just 1 month. At Cold Harbor, Union soldiers pinned their names and addresses to their backs so their bodies could be identified after they died. In the North, morale collapsed. President Lincoln was convinced he would lose the election of 1864 to his old rival, George McClellan, who promised to negotiate peace. Lincoln wrote a secret memo pledging to cooperate with the new president to save the Union before the inauguration. But the victory came from an unexpected place: the soldiers themselves. In the Bayonet vote, Union troops voted overwhelmingly for Lincoln, choosing to stay and fight rather than let their sacrifices be in vain. The military miracle Lincoln needed came from Georgia. General William Tecumseh Sherman captured Atlanta in September. Then, he did the unthinkable. He cut his communication lines and marched 60,000 men from Atlanta to the sea. He told Grant, "I can make this march and make Georgia howl." His troops, known as bummers, lived off the land. They destroyed railroads by heating the rails over bonfires and twisting them around trees, Sherman's neckties. They burned crops and seized livestock. It was psychological warfare designed to prove to every Southern civilian that their government could not protect them. On December 22nd, Sherman arrived in Savannah. He sent a famous telegram to Lincoln: "I beg to present you as a Christmas gift the city of Savannah." The Confederacy was cut in half. By April 1865, Lee's army was starving, shrinking, and trapped. Grant finally broke the lines at Petersburg. Richmond fell, and the Confederate government fled. On April 9th, Lee realized he had no escape. He arranged to meet Grant at the home of Wilmer McLean at Appomattox Courthouse. The contrast was striking. Lee arrived in his finest dress uniform with a ceremonial sword. Grant arrived in a mud-spattered private's coat with only his shoulder straps showing his rank. But the most poignant moment happened when Lee saw Grant's military secretary, Eli Parker, a Seneca Native American. Lee said, "I am glad to see one real American here." Parker replied, "We are all Americans." Grant's terms were generous. Confederates could keep their horses for spring plowing. Officers could keep their sidearms. He even ordered rations for Lee's starving men. As Lee rode away, Union soldiers began to cheer, but Grant ordered them to stop. "The war is over," he said. "The rebels are our countrymen again." The joy lasted only 5 days. On April 14th, Good Friday, Lincoln went to Ford's Theater to see Our American Cousin. John Wilkes Booth, a famous actor, crept into the box. He fired a single shot, then leaped to the stage, breaking his leg, and shouted, "Sic semper tyrannis," thus always to tyrants. Lincoln died the next morning. The assassination changed everything. Lincoln, who was a controversial politician in life, became a secular saint in death. His plan for a lenient Reconstruction died with him. The South, fearful of Northern vengeance, began to craft the lost cause myth, rewriting history to claim the war was never about slavery but states' rights, and depicting Lee as a flawless marble figure. The war ended slavery with the 13th Amendment, saved the Union, and killed 750,000 Americans. It was a new birth of freedom, but the battle over its memory and what that freedom meant was just beginning. The Civil War defined us. It proved that a democracy could survive its own suicide attempt. But the scars it left on the land, the law, and the soul of the nation are still visible today. This concludes our series on the Civil War. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey through history, please like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. Panel 16, final question. Grant's generous terms at Appomattox were meant to heal the nation, but Lincoln's assassination days later hardened the North's heart. How do you think Reconstruction would have gone if Lincoln had lived? I'd love to read your theories in the comments. Until next time, stay curious.